we'll get this going. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Jeff Morrell here with Kathy Carter. We're two of the founders of Freedom Team, about 3,000 agents with EXP all across the country, 7 other countries outside of the U.S., and glad you're here, okay? All of you, a lot of you are with EXP. If you're a guest with us or if you're a guest watching this recording, we appreciate it. This is open to all agents, all companies every Tuesday. This is not an EXP pitch at all. This is just to help us with our businesses and more transactions, more production. My wife and I know right now we've got a lot of things we're working on right now that have come from these Tuesday masterminds. Several deals. In fact, she has a closing today that came from exactly from one of these masterminds about 4 or 5 months ago. So that's coming up today. But guys, Mitch has been with us before. And Mitch, seriously, we appreciate you being here. You don't benefit from us in any way, shape, or form. And that's what I love about EXP, the collaboration that we're doing, everybody working together. Mitch is down in Florida. If you read his bio, I mean, he's been a broker owner for a long time, entrepreneur to the max. I mean, paintball business, a dating app. He's done all kinds of stuff that he's sold and, had highs and lows like any entrepreneur, but been with EXP now, brought his brokerage over here several years ago and has exploded that over here as well with his group and what he's been able to do with that piece of it, but still continues to coach and to train. And I interviewed him about a year ago or so. He sent me a book that I sent out to people. It's awesome. I still have that in my computer, a PDF of that. Really, really good stuff. So anyway, Mitch, we appreciate you being on here. Going to talk about how to build a business instead of a job. I made that mistake early on.
Everybody does. Everybody. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Jeff and Kathy. I appreciate it. And, I'm always here to share. The only thing I really liked about owning a brokerage was this part of it. The teaching and helping people grow. The beauty of being with EXP versus when I have my brokerage is I only work with people that are swimming toward me now. I don't chase agents to be successful. I have that conversation with every agent that joins my group. I'm like, I'll help you all you want, but if you're not going to participate or do what you say, don't waste my time. Because I'm old. I don't want to waste my time. There's only so many more days left. But hopefully they're years. But anyways, so I've been in the business 22 years. Had a big brokerage with 120 agents, and I have about 2,200 agents with EXP. I have spent most of my life helping people grow their businesses and businesses versus jobs. And that's what we're going to talk about today. One of the mistakes I see, and I'm going to say almost every realtor that I know, is they don't build a business, they build a job. And what does that mean? That means that they are working in the business and never working on the business. And so the challenge for that is you're on a hamster wheel. You're in a rat race. I mean, that was one of the reasons I joined EXP was to get out the rat race of owning a brokerage, which is I work 35 hours a week now, which I don't really work 35 hours a week. I'm here 35 hours a week. I pretend I work 35 hours a week. But I want you to be open-minded about what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to take you through the basics, by the way. I'm going to take you from so if you're a brand new agent, this is really, really important. If you're an agent in business for a while, it's important. And a lot of the stuff that I'm going to teach you and talk about today is stuff from mistakes that I made. Because, most of us who are entrepreneurs, and I've owned 23 companies, as Jeff said, over the years, that's why I look like this at 28 years old, is the most people just never build a business. There's a great book, and I want you guys all to write this down, called E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. E-Myth Revisited. So any budding entrepreneur that I talk to, I make them read that book first before they do anything, because that book changed my life in 1999. I had the first online dating service, and in 1999, I was literally calling my assistant and my sales manager 6 times a day. Yes, that's the book, JC. Make sure it's revisited once. E-Myth Revisited. He's got a lot of books that are E-Myth books, but read that one. That's the best one. And so I was flying around the country. I was on the road 25 days a month with my online dating service and growing that. And I was literally calling nonstop my assistant and my sales manager. And I was with the vice president of Arbitron. Arbitron is the rating systems for the music industry, the radio industry. I had private labeled my online dating service for the media, which is why nobody's ever heard of it, even though we're the first one. And so a friend of mine, the vice president guy, is like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You don't have a business, you have a job." And it was the first time anybody ever said that to me. And I was that guy. I was the technician instead of being an entrepreneur. I was opening these companies, but I was always the technician within the job. And most of you right now are the technician within your business. You're not really running a business. A business runs, if you leave, your business runs. Now, real estate's a little more challenging, and I'm not going to get into the details of building a modern team. That could be a whole nother call sometime, Jeff. But I've redesigned the whole team model for entrepreneurs to understand how to leverage and create freedom versus money. And you need money to have freedom, but you have to have the guy on the eye on freedom. That's a whole other story. Anyway, so we're going to start from the basics today, and stop me with anytime you have a question. None of this stuff is rocket science. It's just stuff that you need to know. First of all, you have to decide, do you want to start a corporation or not? Right? Some people do, some people don't. You do not have to start a corporation to be in real estate and write off all the stuff you need to be in real estate. So I never, as a realtor, created an LLC or a PA. I just ran my stuff and everything. I got to write everything out. That was my accountant's decision for me when I was starting in real estate, that I didn't need it. But that would be something you talk with a lawyer and accountant yourself to make sure if you need that for yourself. Bank accounts. And this sounds so simple, by the way, but it's nobody does it. Your bank accounts need to be separate, right? Everybody commingles all this stuff. Oh, I got a $10,000 check, stick it in the bank. You can't do that. If you're putting that, you're mixing your money up. You don't have a business again. You're not running a business. You got this, whatever you have to call it, and you put money in this account. When you go to do your taxes at the end of the year, it's hell. Trust me, I didn't do it the first 2 years. It was hell. And so I spent a lot of time fixing that and opening up separate bank accounts for all my business stuff that I do. Next thing is, credit card, same thing. Get a separate credit card for your business. Don't use a credit card that you already use for going shopping and stuff like that. And again, talk to your accountant about everything. I would recommend using QuickBooks for the average person as far as keeping track of everything. Next is your commission checks. So here's what happens in real estate. I've watched this a billion times now. Actually, it's just under a billion. It's like 999,000 million or something like that. That was a Joe Biden line, I think. But that's not right. Sorry. Yeah, it's got bad jokes along the way, right? So here's your commission check. This is how you need to be thinking about your commission checks. 30% goes into your tax account. So you need folders within your bank account. 30% goes into your tax account, no matter what. There's nothing worse. And again, I did this, so don't do what I did. Then sitting there in January going, oh crap, I have no money in the bank to pay my taxes in April, right? Every check, 30% goes away. The next thing is 30% goes into your marketing fund. So the reason why I was able to grow so big so quickly, and I'll go those numbers real quick for you, was that I procedurized my marketing fund. I didn't do my tax fund, but I did my marketing fund. And 30% of every check I got went to a marketing fund. And I built that up over 6 months to really start being able to market myself properly. And then 40% pays yourself. So out of a $10,000 commission, you should be paying yourself $4,000. 3,000 goes to taxes, and 3,000 goes to your marketing fund. Just to give you a quick background, I should have said at the beginning, I sold 36 homes my first year out without knowing one person where I live. I knew my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and she lived with me, so probably not buying anything. And 50 my second year, 80 my third year, 80 my fourth year, and started my brokerage my fifth year. Most importantly, get a really good account. Make sure they understand real estate. I know a lot of people have accountants and they dabble in the real estate business, but they don't know it. You want an accountant that knows real estate. My accountant, pretty much all she does is realtors, so she's great. All right, next step. First step in any business I've ever owned, except for my paintball business, because I didn't know better back then. Of course, that still made pretty much the most money that any of my businesses did, so maybe I did it all wrong. But write a business plan. And so let's talk about a business plan. Nobody does this. I just had a meeting with a bunch of my agents yesterday. In fact, we're going to bring in a person, Agent Hub 360. They work with realtors on building business plans. They're great. And we're going to help them build their business plans. So it doesn't have to be long. When I built the online dating service, I raised $3 million in about a year and a half with a 2-page business plan. So you don't need this big, gigantic thing, but you need to know, how many sales do you plan to generate? How much revenue will that generate? What are you going to use for lead generation? How are you going to do circle of influence? You can do internet. You can do open houses. How are you going to generate business? What's your marketing budget? These are all important things. Break down where you're going to spend your marketing budget. And then how many leads will you get from each of those things you're spending on your marketing budget? At what point do you need to hire a TC? Which, by the way, the answer to that is after you've done 5 transactions. You should never be doing contract to close paperwork ever again. That's not running a business. Think about this when you're running a business. You should never be doing $10 an hour jobs. Now today that's a $15 or $20 an hour job, but I still like the word 10. I like 10. I don't know why. But you should never be doing $10 an hour jobs. If you're doing $10 an hour jobs, you're now a technician. You're not running a business, right? So when you hire a TC, I think you should hire a TC after you've done 5 transactions, even 10. You know how to do that part of the business. Now you turn it over to somebody. And then these next 2 things are really important as part of this. You got to do the work. And I had this conversation with several of my agents yesterday. And I was like, and they're all wonderful people. I love them to death, but they're not doing the work. So I want you to do a challenge this week. And this is a challenge for all of you guys. For the next 7 days, I want you to track every minute of every day. Right? And I want you to see how much time you actually work. I will guarantee you, if you're making $100,000 a year or more, you're probably only working 3.5 hours a day. The people that are not succeeding are working an hour a day. And I'm talking about actually working. People who are doing 10, 15 transactions a year, they're working 2 hours a day. And I know these numbers because we did this with my brokerage years ago. And our best agents who were making between $100,000 and $150,000 a year back then were working about 3.5 days on average. Nobody worked more than 4 hours a day. And I was working 16-hour days, but when I did this thing, it actually worked out to be 10. I was actually working. The rest of it was just fluff. So I want you to decide, is this a hobby or is this a business? If it's a hobby, that's okay. But my guess that you're on this call today, it's not a hobby, it's a business. Or you want it to be a business, right? So that's first step. Write a business plan. If you're going to do this for a business, run it like a business. Mindset is 99.9643782% of this. And I'm very precise. And here's the reason why I believe a lot of people fail in this business. There's lots of reasons. They don't implement, they don't do anything, they don't work, all that stuff. But your investment to become a realtor was $1,500. Nothing. It's free. $1,500 is free. I go out to dinner with my wife in a hotel somewhere. We spend $1,500, right? That's what it costs to do anything these days. So you have no investment in your business. The first day that I started in real estate, when I wrote my business plan, I envisioned myself investing $250,000 in this business. And I'll ask you this question. You don't need to respond, but I want you to think of the answer. What would you do differently today if you invested $250,000 to start your real estate business? You know what the answer is? I'll tell you. It's everything. You'd be up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. By 8 o'clock, you'd be rocking on the phones. By 12 o'clock, you'd be going out showing appointments, and you'd be making $200,000 a year or more, depending where you're from. But the mindset doesn't go there because you only invested $1,500. And if you lose $1,500, who cares? There's no pain, right? Pain is what drove me in all my businesses. I personally funded all my business except for my online dating service. And if I lost it, my family didn't eat. A lot of pain, right? All right. So next part, being proactive with your customers. So we have reactive agents and we have proactive agents. Is anybody from New York here? So if you are, I'll apologize, but New Yorkers are always the worst people coming to Florida. They just have an attitude, and I'm a Red Sox guy, so I have to hate New Yorkers anyways. It's in my blood, being a Boston boy. But you set the standards on how you run your business. So a typical realtor is reactive. And what does that mean? My phone rings, I answer it. My phone rings, I answer. I run answer. But I don't answer my phone. Now, it doesn't mean I don't return phone calls immediately, but I want to set the standard. Now, if I'm sitting there and I'm not doing anything, I'll answer my phone, but I'm always on a call. I'm always busy. When I was selling houses, I was always showing property. I was always on a listing appointment. I was always working. I'm not going to interrupt that to do that. But I explain that to people. If I'm with somebody, I will not answer the phone, and I'll call you as soon as I'm done. I set those expectations right up front. I educate my buyers on how I work. I educate them how I get paid. If you do not buy from me, I do not get commission. I work by commission only. There's different scenarios. You might go to an open house. Here's some of my cards. Make sure you hand them my card when you walk in the door and let them know you're working with me. That way they won't bother you. Are you interested in new construction? Blah, blah, blah. Several things. My opening line was always this. Let me explain to you how I work. I'm going to give you 150% in helping you find your home. I'm really, really good at it. But I have a few things that I demand in return. I expect loyalty. If for some reason you're not happy with me, fire me. I only get paid. I only get paid on commission if you buy something from me. So if you're not happy with me, get rid of me quickly. And by the way, nobody ever did because I'm so awesome. But I set that expectation. I also said you have me from Monday through Saturday from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. Sunday is my family day. I almost died in 2004, so I changed my 7-day week to 6 days a week. So you have me from 8 in the morning from Monday through Saturday. Sunday's my family day. If Sunday doesn't work for you, I'm the wrong realtor for you. If that doesn't work, I'm the wrong realtor for you. Never lost a customer by that. By the way, not working Sundays. You need a day with your family. And I'm not talking about a day for you. You need a day for your family. Right. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the many, many years of doing this now, and I'm so guilty of it. And again, going back to chasing freedom versus chasing money, is I did great. I've had an amazing life. I've financially done really, really well. People know me. I get my ego part of me is fulfilled, all that other crap. I get to play guitar a lot. But and I've worked 80 to 100 hours a week my entire life, except for the last 2 years. And what happened with that? So I got everything I wanted except my life. I missed the most important part of life. I forgot to live while I was chasing the dollar. It's really important. I want you to think. I'm going to talk about that a little more, but I want you to understand that. On your
Can we,
phones.
Mitch, do you mind? I mean, can I jump in for a second with this?
Yeah, of course.
Because
Yeah.
I want to land on this for just a second and maybe have some other people just share on this because I think this is such a huge, I don't know, it's such a huge pet peeve of mine. Whatever, and I made the mistakes early on. Answer my phone around the clock, and
Yep.
I realized like it's like I'm setting the bar for my clients. If I answer the phone at 9 o'clock at night, then they know they can reach me at 9 o'clock at night. So they'll call me at 9 o'clock at night. You know what? And it feels so unprofessional to me, having been in the business now 21 years. I mean, I had to finally learn, like, wait a minute. Like one of the things I realized, I think Aaron Ken mentioned this a long time ago to me. He said, look, there's no emergency in real estate.
Right.
And
Not
if you
10 o'clock at night.
there's just not, and I think if we set this up, if you set the standard at the beginning with your clients, when you're first meeting with them, like this is how I work, whatever. Like I've got a family. I've got 2 daughters. Whatever. After 6 o'clock at night, my phone is off. It's family time. It's dinner time. It's time with my kids. It's getting them to bed. It's all this stuff. This is back in the day, right? And I would just set that. Now, again, if it's a day before closing, 2 days before closing, and there's something going on, believe me, I'm never going to let that deal fall apart. We will go to closing. Like, if you need to reach me at 8 o'clock at night, I might still be working on your file that night. I mean, that's fine. I will be there. But I would tell them there's no emergencies in real estate. If you text me that night at 9 o'clock, I will definitely get back to you first thing in the morning. We'll get it figured out. Yeah, but just had to set that standard. And everybody I ever did that, but like, oh yeah, of course you got a family. We get it. Like
No,
you're good.
nobody ever gets upset, and they respect you. It's
Exactly.
it's so. I mean, think about this. How many heart surgeons can you call at 10 o'clock at night and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting a heart transplant. What do you think?" I mean, you if you want to be the professional, you need to be a professional. And
Yeah.
professionals don't get on the phone at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm not saying, by the way, there's not times that I worked at 10 o'clock. I was working at 10 o'clock at night. That's not
Sure.
my stuff, right?
Sure.
And I would tell my customers, especially since tech came about, because it wasn't there when we first started. Because I'm 22 years in, Jeff. So I would say, look, if it's an emergency, if you really, really have to call me, text me. And if I'm available, I'm not doing something with my family, I'll respond. But generally, after 8 o'clock at night is when I stop. And set that standard on your phone as your voicemail. If you're calling me after, like Pete Middleton has the best phone. If you're calling me after 6 o'clock at night, I'll call you first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Just always set expectations. I'm a huge expectation guy. You set the expectations, and everybody's disappointments in life is based on their expectations of others, right? So, so you have to set those expectations ahead of time. Very important. All right, next. Daily schedule. So what does this look like? This is all part of your life, right? What does your day look like? Are you doing time blocking? If you're not doing time blocking, you need to take a class on time blocking because it's the most important of running an efficient business. How many hours a week are you going to work? I will tell you, if you're working 60 or more hours a week, you're making a mistake. There's something wrong there. You're not running a business, right? And I worked 80 hours a week selling 80 homes a year. So again, I'm taking it from someone that knows this. It took me till my end of my second year before I go, wait, what am I doing here? I'm making a lot of money, but I'm not having fun. So how many hours a week are you going to work? How many days a week are you going to work? Are you going to work 5 days? And again, set these standards. How many hours a day are you going to prospect? What are you doing to build your business? How many days are you going to go networking with consumers or other agents? You should never be doing nothing, right? And I see that that's again going back to your challenge I gave you this week, tracking every minute of every day for the next 7 days. If you have time in there that you're doing nothing, which you'll have a lot of time you're doing nothing. And by the way, thinking of stuff that isn't doing anything, like sitting driving down the street, going to get a coffee and thinking about, hey, I should do that. That's nothing. That's not working. 80% of your time should be in revenue generating activities. And it's just simply, if you're going to get that coffee, don't go through the drive-through. Go in the line. And here's my pickup line for customers, right? I'll give you my pickup line. So I'll go. I'll role play with you for Jeff in a second. Jeff, okay?
Okay.
Hey, how you? So I'm in line. I always pick, like at grocery stores. I always pick the longest line. Sold dozens of homes from the grocery store. So hey, how you doing? How's your day going today?
Good. Yeah. How about
Good.
you?
I'm in the real estate business. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, every single time I've said that, people go, "Oh, you're in the real estate business? How's the market?"
How's the
Everybody,
market? Yep.
every single time, 100%. All right, 99%. I'm sure somebody didn't say that, but and then I'd say, "Oh, it's an interesting market, depending what the market is, right? Right now, it's an interesting market." And I say, one of the things I do for my friends locally is I send them every month a market update of what's going on in the market. Would you like one? Yeah, that'd be great. Almost everybody says yes. Now, what did I do? I just created a new lead. You can do that all day long, all day long. You should never be sitting in your home. I had an agent in my office recently, and we're talking about business. And recently, when you're old, by the way, is about within the last 6 months. It or maybe the last 6 years, I don't know. But she came to my office because she's struggling. She's been in the air for 4 months. She's been a realtor before, but moved to the area 4 months ago. And we adopt EXP agents that don't have anybody here, so we adopt them and take them over and let them be part of our group. And so I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm working on social media the last 4 months." I go, "How's that working for you?" She goes, "Well, I haven't sold any homes." I go, "So it's not working that good, is it?" I go, "Here's what I want you to do. There's a place called the Sarios, a area called Coker Village. I want you to go in there. There's always a line, and I want you to do exactly what I just did with Jeff." She called me 2 hours later. She got a listing. That's because she got out of the house. Activity breeds activity. If you're doing momentum activity, it will give you business. Okay. All right. Next is self-hustle. What are you doing for your personal growth? Sometimes we're so busy in trying to sell houses that we forget about ourselves. And if you're not building your personal growth, and that's things like going to events, Cabo, which we're all going to again this year, EXPCon, build local events, regional events. We just had the regional rallies all over the country. It's funny. We have 10,000 agents in Florida. I think we had a total of 600 between Orlando and Miami that went. Terrible, right? Terrible. What are you reading? I don't read because I'm really ADD, so I do Audible, which I still have trouble with, but I do it. Is what are you doing to make you a better salesperson? Have you read a sales book ever? Right? I'm not a salesperson. Yeah, you're a real estate salesperson. It says it on your license, right? You're in sales whether you like it or not. Now, can you sell someone a house? No, but all the prospecting and all that stuff is all sales. So what are you doing there? What are you doing to become a stronger person? I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. Changed my life in so many ways. Invest money in yourself. In fact, I'd rather see you invest money in yourself before you ever buy a lead, right? Because building yourself and your confidence in yourself and understanding what makes you tick is so much more important than an internet lead that only closes at 1%. Like I said, sales training seminars are good. The Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, it's the Tony Robbins. Doesn't have to be sales, but things that make you better. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Make a list. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Now, here's my thing on weaknesses and strengths. I don't care about your weaknesses. Let's look at what you're strong at and make you better, because you'll constantly be struggling to fix those weaknesses. I'm not trying to say not to ever work on those things. There's things that might be weak that are almost to a strength, those you want to work on. But things that you completely suck at, pardon my French, don't waste your time. There's too many things you're good at that you can do to create business. You don't have to sell a lot of homes to be successful, right? You sell 20 homes a year in almost every market in this country, you're making $100,000+ a year, right? Some markets, I think around here, if you sell 12 homes, you're making $100,000, 13 homes, whatever it is. So what are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Make a list of those. Are any of those weaknesses things I can easily move over to the strength column? Great, do that. But if there's things that you just don't enjoy, here's what I've learned about people. If you don't like it, you won't do it. Now, with that said, and even like cold call, people who do it love it. Now, I personally have never done cold call in real estate, but just not my thing. Don't enjoy it. So I did things I liked. I loved open houses. I mean, so 36 homes my first year, 28 were from open houses. That's a whole nother day of talking. When do you okay, so here's a couple of books I'll give you. Like E-Myth I gave you. The Ultimate Sales Machine from Chet Holmes is one of my favorite. Gary Keller's Millionaire Real Estate Agent is a really good one. Though the team model's kind of out so I think it's outdated at this point, the way they do teams. Very few teams are actually profitable. So that's why I redid the team model. And we can have that conversation in another class sometimes, Jeff, if you want. And of course, my book, So You Have Your Real Estate License Now What, is great for newer agents. But whatever you're looking for to do that, if you want a copy of my So You Have Your Real Estate License Now What, just email me. It's mitch@mitchrealty.com, and I'll send you the PDF so you don't have to buy it. I just rewrote it. I still going through editing processes again, but I rewrote the whole book the last couple months. All right, let's talk about growth for a few minutes. A little more time here, good. So what time do you hire a TC? I know I talked about this a little bit. I think you should do your first 5 to 10 transactions yourself because you need to understand the process, and then you should never ever do it again. Right? Because if it's $300 to $400 for a TC, it's money well spent because it gives you freedom. Right? If you're doing all these $10 an hour jobs, you don't have freedom. When do you hire an assistant? So I made the mistake of waiting until I had 50 deals to hire an assistant. My second year, at the end of my second year, I did 50 transactions and we hired an assistant then. I would have done that earlier now, knowing what I know now. I would have done that around 15 or 20 transactions. Again, why am I? And you don't need a full-time assistant. We just did with 4 of our agents. I got them together and they're all sharing a full-time assistant. So they're each hired her for 10 hours a week. You don't need anybody full-time right away, but you need to get yourself in the habit of running a business and not having a job. I found for me at 50 transactions, I couldn't grow anymore to get to the next level without an assistant. Now, again, if I had done that when I had 36 sales or sooner, I would have grown quicker. But that held me back because I didn't have an assistant because I was putting listings in, I was going to all my inspections, doing all that stuff that we do. You always want to be thinking about how do you go to the next level. One of my favorite lines is be uncomfortable with comfortable. And when I'm talking about doing things that you like, that doesn't mean don't push yourself, right? It doesn't mean, I like eating bonbons. That's great, but that's not going to make you any money. I'm not telling you not to push yourself. I always want you to think to level up. I'll give you a quick story on that. I was with Glenn Sanford in Puerto Rico about a year ago, and it's just me and Glenn talking for a little bit. It was really funny. He's such an interesting guy. And he was telling me some of the stuff he's working on to go to the next level. And I'm like, but Glenn, you're worth $1.5 billion. When do you stop? He goes, never. Because when you stop growing, what do you start doing? You start dying. Right? Your business eventually falls if you stop. If you level, there's a reason why realtors do the same. If someone does $2 million a year, they do $2 million a year. Someone does 4 million, does 4 million. Someone does 6, someone does 20, does 20. I see it all the time in people as they stay at the same level. They go like this and then they get comfortable. I made 100 grand. That's all I care about. What's my standard? Set your standards higher than you want. So my mistake when I first started was I wanted to make $250,000 a year. As long as I made $250 a year, I'd be happy. So what did I make? $250 a year, right? I should have said I want to make $500 a year. Every year I should have upped my level of what I wanted it to go. I didn't do that. All right. Leverage is the most powerful tool you can have to grow. So leverage people. All right, we got just about 5 more minutes left in this, so we can open up for any type of conversation. Um, there's a fine line between building a business versus the business running you. I'm going to say that almost all of you, and I don't know very many of you, all of you let the business run you. You're a reactive realtor. And I said that earlier. You've got to switch your brain to be proactive. You can't lose sight of what's important in life. I screwed up. I can't tell you 5 things I do with my kids. I can't. Doesn't mean I wasn't there, by the way. I just was never present. And if you're that realtor, uh, you need to be there. If you're a dad or a mom, that's your most important job you'll ever have in your life. And you don't get it back. Like I'm lucky that my kids didn't really suffer from it, but I did. It's the only regret I have. I mean, well, I'm losing my hair, but the only regret I have is that I did not remember any time with my kids. I literally sat down about several months ago when I wrote all this type of stuff, and I looked at my life. I go, I don't remember more than 5 things that I do with my kids, and I struggled to find 5 things. That's terrible, because when you're about to die, when you're laying in your deathbed, you're not thinking about how much money you have, right? You're saying, "Oh, I did this with my wife, or I did this with my husband. Well, I don't have a husband. I did this with my kids. Whatever. Right? That's your memories are all you have, and make them really awesome." There's a great other book called Die with Zero, which every time I talk to anybody, I tell you to read it. Changed my life. I read it in August of 2021, and I immediately that day went from 60 hours a week down to 35 hours a week, and I've been 35 hours a week since that day. Hired someone to take my job as I'm the sales manager of my local group. I hired a sales manager because money is less important to me than freedom. I don't live a huge high life. I haven't bought a private jet yet. I'm still looking. I found one that's about 12 inches long that I could throw. But you got to look at your life and say, all right, if you're working more than 40, 50 hours a week in this business, you're not running a business. And by the way, starting up, you can do that, but you've got to get this into business mode where your job is to buy and sell homes, right? Like I don't ever give you an example of this. I haven't shown a home in 10 years. Right? I averaged up until 2 years ago, I averaged 25, 30 homes a year personally selling. I haven't, by the way, I've shown a few, but I haven't shown many. I pay people $25 an hour to show houses for me. Right? Why would I show houses? That's not the best use of my time. Right? You have to learn how to be efficient. And I'd rather pay someone $100 to go show 4 hours of time than me spending 4 hours running around in my car showing people homes. Right? What's your values? I'll give you a quick story on this. I hit a wall about, I think it was last March. I don't hit walls. And I hit a wall. It was really, really bad. It's the first time in 30 years that I was in a funk. And so it came to light. I was interviewing an agent that my wife brought to us, a friend of hers. And we walked out of it and she goes, I got to tell you, Mitch, you really sucked. And my wife is very blunt. If you met my wife, she's 4'9". She completely controls my life. And I'm totally happy with that. And she goes, "You really sucked." I go, I don't give an F. That's what I said to her. I don't care. She goes, "You've lost your mojo," and that was what I was looking for. I couldn't figure out. This is about a 3 month thing I was going through. So I went on to Workplace and I texted Jarek Robbins, and president of Success Coaching. I don't know if he still is, but he was then. And I said, Jarek, I'm not looking for a coach. I've lost my mojo and I need help. So he wrote me back a few hours later. And he said, "What's your schedule like today? Let's go find your mojo." And he brought me to a couple of things. He goes, "What's your value? When was the last time you looked at your value system?" And I pulled out my Tony Robbins book from 2008, and that was the last time I looked at my value system. He goes, "Let me guess what it was. It was business, family, you, right?" I go, "Yeah, 100%." He goes, "That's not a sustainable life." He goes, "It has to be family, you, and then business. If your family's not 100% into what you're doing, you're a mess. You're going to bring that into your entire life. You're going to get divorced. You don't have a relationship. Trust me, I didn't have a relationship for 18 years with my wife when I was selling houses. And he said, if you're not physically healthy, both mentally and physically healthy, you don't have a business. If you do your family and your personal growth and health first, business will follow. It was super powerful. He also said, how well do you sleep? I go, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, he said, my dad used to say that because his dad's Tony Robbins, right? He said, he goes, but my dad got metal poisoning, and they were able to get all the metal out of his body except for his brain. And the doctors told him, if you do not sleep more than 6 to 8 hours a day, you are going to die. You will never get that metal out of your body because the only time your brain heals is during sleep. Interesting, right? So he made me buy this thing called a Whoop, WHOOP. It monitors your sleep. It's really highly detailed. It's really cool. And then he finally said to me, "Do you meditate?" Well, two more things. Meditate. I said, "I try to meditate." I go, and I think about everything I got to do. He goes, "Well, I saw you play guitar." He goes, "Because I was playing my guitar when you got on the call." And he goes, "What do you think about when you play guitar?" I go, "Guitar." He goes, "That's meditation." Right. So I start every day now. I play my guitar for 30 minutes before I start working. And then he said to me, "Have you ever tried a cold shower?" And I'm like, "Hell no, no way in hell." And he goes, "Try it." He goes, "It's life changing." So that next day, I'm desperate here. I need to get out of this funk to get my mojo back. Next morning, I got in, took my shower, shaved my body, my head, my face, and then put the cold water on. And I'm like, it was hell. And by the way, I'm in Florida. Cold water in Florida is not that cold, right? Like Colorado, cold water is cold, right? I was just in Wisconsin. I did a cold shower in Wisconsin last week. My son lives there, and we just had a baby. Um, and I did a cold shower there, and it's cold. I mean, it's 55-degree cold. Cold water here is like 65 degrees, not too bad. But anyways, I got out of my 3-minute cold shower, and by the way, after 40 seconds, you don't feel the cold anymore. It's uncomfortable, but it's not bad. Got out of my shower, and I had the next 4, 5, 6 hours of unbelievable focus in production. And it changed the whole game. I do a cold shower every day now. Regardless of where I'm at, I do a cold shower every day. Once in a while on a Sunday, I'll give myself a break and not take one because I don't do anything on Sundays. Um, but anyways, so this is understanding your values. All this stuff is so important to do this, but you have to get sleep. And if you're not sleeping, you have to do things that make you energized, or else you're sluggish. And the cold shower did it for me. All right. What else we have? So health we talked about. You should be eating properly. One thing I do really well is I do eat well. Um, I drink a lot less than I used to drink, which is still 6 vodkas a day, but no, I'm kidding. You don't want to drink a lot because alcohol is just destroys your following day, especially when you get older. You got to get, I said, 7 or 8 hours of sleep every day. If you're not on supplements, get supplements. I go to a holistic doctor and I'm on supplements to get the things I don't get from food. But I eat a lot of veggies. Don't eat too much red meat. Love a good steak, um, stuff like that. All right. So, and then the final thing I want you to think about: life is really short, and you have two choices when you wake up in the morning. You can stop the drama immediately, and I know you all know people that do that. You might be one of those people. I don't know. Um, and you can be miserable, or you can wake up with a smile on your face and having a wicked awesome day. And I'm a huge believer. I wake up every day with a smile on my face. I literally jump out of bed. Right? And by carbs, by the way, are why you have pain. Just to go back for health for a second. Your pain in your body is carb related, carb and sugar related. As soon as I knocked out, I have 2 herniated discs in my neck. As soon as I need surgery, as soon as I cut out carbs, I don't have any pain at all. So I wake up out of the morning. I'm 63 years old in January. I jump out of bed. There's no hovering and walking like a 90-year-old guy. But I have friends of mine that are the same age as me that can barely walk because all they live on is carbs. So, anyways, I wake up every day with a smile. I go to bed with a smile. My wife says I'm even sleeping with a smile. It kind of irritates her, actually, that I'm always so damn happy. This is truly who I am. I'm just a happy guy because I choose to be. I have a 5-minute rule. My 5-minute rule is I'm going to get pissed off. It's 5 minutes. I'm going to cry. It's 5 minutes. I'm going to get happy. That's all day long. I don't do drama. I have fired or gotten rid of every person, including family members, in my life who are drama. I don't do it. I have agents come to me all the time with drama. I say, look, I'm the wrong person to talk to because you're not getting sympathy to me from me. You have to get rid of the drama in your life. Get rid of the people. It's easy to follow the talking bad about people, but just know the person that's talking bad about somebody else is talking bad about you too. Smile. Just smile. Have a good time. Determine if you really want this as a business. Stop making excuses and do the work. All right, have a nice day. So that's kind of it. I mean,
Awesome.
that's really the messaging here, and it's really the whole point of this whole story is run a business, enjoy your life because you're going to die soon. And I'm going to leave you with one more story real quick, and then I'll answer questions. And I don't think I told this one last time I met with you guys, but if I did, just deal with it. I met with a 62-year-old guy, same age as me, from Orlando, Remax guy. First, he's like, I'm not joining EXP. I go, I don't care. He goes, you reach out to me to help give you a coaching lesson. I do free coaching for anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what brokerage you are. I don't pursue you on for EXP. If you do it great, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But I said to him, I said, how many deals, how long have you been in the business? 35 years. How many homes a year? He goes, I've sold 80 homes a year every year. I go, married kids? He goes, no, never got married, never had kids. I go, why is that? He goes, well, I was that guy that was at the on a date answering my phone or running to the bathroom to answer the phone or whatever nonstop. I go, so I looked at him. We were doing a Zoom call. I go, what are you doing? He goes, what do you mean? I go, you know you're gonna die soon, right? And he just looked at me with like kind of blank stare. I go, I mean, you're 62 years old. What do you got? 10 mobile years, 15 mobile years left, 20 to live, 25 to live max, maybe if you're lucky. What are you doing? I go, you've built the worst job in the world and you missed your entire life because of it. Because if you're a successful realtor, your life sucks because you didn't build a business. I know people that, again, do tons of business, 60, 70, 80 transactions a year. Their life sucks. I did it. Didn't want to be the person I was back in 2004 and five. But anyway, so he started crying. It was very emotional. And he goes, I just didn't know. Nobody told him how to do this because everybody who knew when you're a business guy and an entrepreneur, I was told by all my mentors, and I was blessed to have 5 awesome mentors. You work 100 hours a week, you'll be successful. And I bought into that mantra. I'm writing a new book called The Big Lie right now. It's bullshit. It's a lie. Life is more important than your work. Don't make work be your life because that's not a fun life. Okay. Anyways, any questions about anything? Life, dating, paintball.
No, it's great stuff. I mean, it's, and I'm grateful. I finally figured a lot of that out. I mean, we're similar, Mitch, in that sense. Like when I started my first year, and again, my 2 daughters, they were 6 and 3 when I started. I wanted my wife to be home with the kids. So it was all on me, 100% commission. And I just busted myself. I mean, I did 32 my first year, 50 my second year, 72 my third. Those were so very similar to that. Then I started a team. My wife got licensed because I couldn't keep up. She was running around with the kids, and we're trading off. And she wasn't licensed, but she whatever. She ended up getting licensed because of all that. Probably the best thing we did, and she did this. Was we ran an ad and we hired an assistant. And at first I was like, no, 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 whatever salary. I'm thinking salary. I don't what all this. Like, that was the best thing we ever did. Because again, that $10-15 an hour work that I could now pass on to her, that was huge, and then we started building a team. We had like 5 or 6 agents come on, and it was good. I had the team for 13-14 years. I got rid of that when I got to EXP because of how this model works. But again, I went through that. I remember it was about 2009, 10, somewhere in there when I hit burnout. And like that blur, 3 or 4 years where my kids, like, I'm here but I'm not here. Exactly that story. And finally, like, okay, we got to figure this out because they're gonna regret it. I'm gonna regret it, and I'm glad I finally got that. We started doing some traveling. We started, I remember as a kid, my biggest memories as a kid are the vacations, Indiana, coming to Florida, whatever. That's what I remember. And so we were able to start traveling and doing some stuff, and started taking the kids. Did a cruise and went to Ireland twice, and took them to Paris, and we just started doing this stuff and prioritizing the family part of that. But man, it was a shift. It was a huge, I had to work on it, and had to work on it for years. I mean, being in Ireland, getting up at 3 a.m. to get on the computer to deal with issues with my real estate, so again, I just, was still working on how do I figure this out as far as building a business and not a job. Cause I had a great job. It was paying me a lot of money, but it wasn't set up to run without me,
No,
you know?
and that's not a business. So a business
Exactly.
means I can go anywhere I want, anytime I want, and have a life, and my business works for me. Not I don't work for the business. It doesn't mean you don't work, by the way.
Oh,
Good, good, Kathy.
I was just going to say, a couple of things stood out to me. Because I had that same story as you and Jeff. It's like working 80 hours, selling a lot of houses, have no life. And so when agents are selling a lot, it's what you said, they have no life. And one thing that I would encourage people to think about, and this goes back to your business planning, is decide what do you want in your business. Decide, in real estate, we see these agents that are making, $500,000, $1 million a year, but they're the ones who many times have no life. And Hank Avnick, he has that 36 net to 36 to life or something, where if you can do 36 deals, you can have a pretty good life, right? At 36 deals. And so that's all his messaging is about. So you got to decide, what do you want in your life? I would say first and foremost. I heard last time you were on the call with us, Mitch, you said, I don't remember if you asked it as a question, but it has resonated with me so much. And it was like, do you want money or do you want freedom?
Yeah.
And, that was your messaging. And it is, we chase money, but we lose freedom.
Yep.
In the meantime. And so you got to ask yourself that question, what do you want? Do you want money or do you want freedom? And many times on the way to, to the money, you lose the freedom. And so I just thought that was so big. And like I said, it's just resonated with me. And, like as people, as agents, we don't have to go chase the $1 million a year if that's not what you really want. If you're going to lose your kids in the meantime, at the end of the day, is it worth it all?
No. Well, the problem is I'll say we, but me, I'll use myself, is this is what I told myself. Well, my job, because I'm old school, right? I'm not a kid, is to provide for my family. And again, my mentors all worked. We never saw my friends' parents, my friends' dads. They all owned companies, and they were all gone all the time. And that's what I was taught. You work to. My job as the man, especially, is to support my family. Right now, if you're a single parent, obviously that's your job too, and it's true. But the more important thing is that Pete Middleton has his best line. He goes, how do children spell love?
T-I-M-E.
T-I-M-E.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. No one
Yep.
told me that. And it's so powerful. And it's my mission. Like I've got another 5 years or so left to work. And I'll always work, by the way, but I have another 5 years of 35 hours a week. That might be two, by the way. I've had a couple of friends die the past few months, so you start thinking about a little more time when they're my age. But my only message is stop listening to the big lie. Be a strong agent. And if you want to build a team, build a new type of team. Don't build the way you build teams back then, because they're not profitable. And what happens, and when I say very, very few teams I talk to are profitable. I'm not saying they're not profitable, but what they do for most people is they take away 20%, 25% of your revenue that you can't do it now because you're babysitting. So there's a better way. Brokerages. If I do anything, if I talk one person out of starting a brokerage in the rest of my life, then I've accomplished a goal. It is the worst business in the world, and I've owned a restaurant, and the restaurant's horrible. And being a broker, it's worse than horrible. It's the worst, unforgiving, no satisfaction, except for your ego, because everybody thinks you're really. I had 120 agents. Everybody thought I was awesome. I'm like, yeah, I made my best year. I made 200 grand. My average year, I made 50 to 75 grand with 120 agents.
Wow.
I talked to a broker the other day. 350 agents made $104,000 in 2022. Another one, 250 agents lost 700 grand last year. In probably one of the best real estate markets we've ever had. Because you buy into, well, we're going to have an office. Okay, well, now we have a lot of it. We need more offices. I had 3 offices. I had 7 staff. I had $100,000 a month in overhead. And you know who didn't care about that? Any of the agents.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
They give a crap. In fact, what they do is they come to you and, hey, Mitch, you've been the best mentor I ever had. I'm going to go over there now.
Yeah.
Right? Worst business you can ever have. I just had the other day, a girl who I've worked with literally calls me every week, 3 or 4 times a week, and EXP is great, you're great, but these guys are offering me a better split, so I'm gonna go over there. I'm like, bye. It's just the way this business. So as a broker, it matters. Now with EXP, with 2,200 agents, you want to be good, successful. I'll help you. I don't care who you are. I don't even care what group you're in. Obviously, I'm here with you guys. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
I'm very blessed. But I will not work with anybody that doesn't do what they say they're going to do. I won't waste my time.
For sure.
One thing that I wanted to circle back, one of the first things you said about setting up your accounts, like I did that many years ago, changed my whole life. It's like everything is separated. I have like 6 or 7 accounts. We have rental property. Like as soon as I get a commission deposited in my account, immediately that day I go in and I have a tax account. I immediately go take that and move it into a tax account. For me, tithing is important. Immediately take 10%, move it into a tithe account. Like, so it's there, and so every quarter I pay my taxes and I don't worry about it at all because it's out of sight, out of mind. I move it the day that the check hits the account. One question I'd love to ask, because I haven't done this, is move money into a marketing account. And so we've got a lot of agents on here. Some are newer, some are struggling. The market's changed, obviously. So what is you're moving, you say 30% into marketing, but whatever dollars people are moving, if they just allocate some of those, where would you recommend at this point in time for people to be investing that money? In what marketing platforms would you say?
That's a whole another hour.
A whole nother training. I know. What's your top two?
Here's the thing. Let's talk about it. First of all, anything that sounds too good to be true is too good to be true. Right. So don't fall into the $29.95 and you're going to get 45,000 listings from it. It doesn't work. I've gotten away from internet. I'm known as the godfather of internet lead conversion. I've kind of gotten away from it because the reality is these days lead conversion is so much more difficult that if you don't have an ISA calling your leads for you, you're just wasting your money. I think Zillow's gotten out of hand, Realtor.com's gotten out of hand, and every lead that you get on there, 10 other agents have that same lead. So it's a little different game than it was when I created all the systems that I created. I would use it mainly even for just getting out there networking, like go sponsor events and stuff like that. And you got to get yourself out of your house, right? You got to get out. And to me, I'd be spending money on stuff like that. I'm normally a direct response marketer, which is what I liked about internet leads. But you can do that stuff. You can have contests. You can have fun. You can do stuff. I have a whole bunch of stuff. I have 12 o'clock, so I only have a couple of more minutes here to really get into it. But we can have. I'm glad to come back on. I can do a 34 ways to generate leads class I teach, which is all sorts of stuff. I will give you my favorite thing. And by the way, I put that money because I'm a marketing guy. Like even when I had my paintball business and we were sold out in April, I still spent $30,000 every month on marketing just because I wanted to learn how to be a TV and radio guy. Right? You have more business sitting here than you'll ever need in your entire life. Stop. You don't need to be chasing crap. Don't chase the little things that pop up everywhere. It's all right here in your sphere. Everybody that I know that's hugely successful only works their sphere. They don't work anything else. They don't get Elizabeth Riley and I have this conversation all the time. She sells 75 homes a year. She's never bought a lead. Right? There's a million ways to generate business. I'm a huge open house fan. Free, right? Got to buy signs. Free. I'm a huge sphere guy. Free. Right? Work the stuff you got. Stop chasing the little bullets that keep flying by you that you think are going to work. Work your sphere and ask people for help, and people will help you, and you'll grow your business. Again, I'm glad to come on next month if you want to do another call next month, a month after, whatever, and do a class on lead generation because it's not difficult. I would spend that money. Another place I'd spend that money: join a yacht club or a golf club, and then go hang out there 3 or 4 or 5 days a week.
Be around people.
Yep. Get out of your house. So like a local yacht club here costs, I think $8,000 membership to join and $500 a month. It's not that much, right? And they'll even let you break up your initial payment into 2 payments. One of my friends of mine, all he does, he goes to that yacht club 5 days a week, hangs out in the bar area, has a drink or two with it. He doesn't sell anything under $1 million. Average price here, by the way, is $375. He doesn't sell anything under $1 million because he associates with who you are. I used to, when I had the dating service, women would say to me, it's always women, guys didn't care. Guys just want someone to love them. Women were way more picky than guys. And I'd say, they said, I just need a better place to meet people. I go, where are you going now? I go to the bars, I go, where do you think professionals go? They go to charity events. They go to yacht clubs. They go to places that are not the local bars. Most people. I mean, I like local bars personally. They always have good bands. But who you associate is going to determine your business. So I would be investing my money into those type of things versus online leads. You're going to do way more sales doing that at a higher price point.
Definitely.
Tracy, there you go. You got your dating tip.
Yeah. Tracy, real quick, Tracy, are you able to unmute? There you go. Just because you had a lot of comments, just any last comment before we wrap this up, just from you guys. Has this been good for you?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I got so many notes. I'm over here. Separate that you don't need a separate credit card for your business. Make sure you're using QuickBooks, 30% of your commission. I mean, I took so many notes, and it makes you just sit back and think, what are my weaknesses? And I need to be making sure that my strengths are where I'm putting a lot of my time. A lot of things I already do that he brought up. The Audible, I do believe in that. You got to be improving yourself. So I thank God for that. I like when you spoke about if you don't like it, you won't do it. And I tell people that you can't even sell what you don't like. So find what you like. If you don't like cold calls, don't do it. If you like open houses, do the open houses. Got your book notes, the sleep. Oh my God, the sleep, eating better makes a huge difference because I'm starting to go more pescatarian. So I see a big difference in my health and the proper supplements. Everything that you said was amazing. And I love the part about children spell love, Time. I've never heard that. And that is so true. So thank you so much.
Good. I think, guys, don't be afraid to set boundaries on your business. Run it like a business, run it like a professional business, and there's just a huge payoff in that. So a lot of good stuff here to think about. Mitch, I know you got to run. Thank you so much for jumping on. We appreciate it. We'll reach back out to you, man. I mean, I know you got a lot of stuff you can share. So I might send it. I've got that book on the PDF. You mind if I attach that to the link here, like for people to get this?
Let me send you the new one because I don't think I sent you the new one. I redid it. So I'll email you.
Okay. Perfect. That'd be great. So
cool.
guys,
Mitch, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody. We're here for you anytime. The recording of this will be up in the next few hours. So you can watch this again, take some more notes. Okay. We'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good week. Bye-bye.